Hello all, this is part 2 of my 3-part series on remaking international soccer / football. This video will focus on Africa. Without further ado, let's get into it. For national teams in Africa, the 4-year competition cycle will change from what is currently seen. The first year will focus on the World Cup. The second year, the African Nations Cup. The third year, the African Nations League, which is a new competition that will be explained later on in this video. And the fourth year will focus on the African Cup of Nations, better known as AFCON. Consequently, the national team's 4-year qualification cycle will also change. The first year will see the teams focus on qualification for the African Nations Cup. The second year, qualification for AFCON via the new Nations League, while the third and fourth years will see the focus on qualifying for the World Cup. For the Men's World Cup, the qualifying format used will be nearly identical to the World Cup qualifying used in Africa for the 2014 and 2022 World Cups. Differences are as follows. First, the 10 group winners will automatically qualify for the World Cup. Secondly, the top 4 second-place teams will compete for the one interconfederational spot which is allotted to Africa. The matches would be one-off games at a neutral site. The first round will see the best second-place team versus the 4th best second-place team, and the second best second-place team versus the 3rd best second-place team. The second round will see the 2 first-round winners. The winner of the second round would advance to the interconfederational playoffs, representing Africa. Switching gears, let's discuss the new Nations League, which doubles as AFCON qualifiers. The Nations League would feature 4 leagues: League A, League B, League C, and League D. The top 3 leagues would each feature 4 groups of 4 teams. So that's League A, League B, and League C will all carry these characteristics. The lowest league, League D, would feature 2 groups of 3 teams. AFCON qualifying is as follows. For teams in League A of the CAF Nations League, the top 3 teams in each group automatically qualifies for AFCON, while the last place team in each group are drawn into 2-legged home and away series. For League B, the 4 group winners automatically qualify for AFCON. The 4 second place teams are drawn into 2-legged home and away series, while the 4 third place teams may be drawn to the same series, but this is dependent on where the AFCON hosts finished in the Nations League. For teams in League C, the 4 group winners are drawn into 2-legged home and away series. Finally, teams in League D do not qualify for AFCON. Does not matter if you finish first or last in your group in League D, you do not qualify for AFCON. Teams that qualify for the 2-legged playoffs are drawn into 2 pots, Pot A and Pot B. Pot A features the upper half of FIFA-ranked AFCON playoff teams, while Pot B features the lower half of FIFA-ranked AFCON playoff teams. Matchups are as follows. They are randomly drawn, featuring Pot A versus Pot B teams. So all the matchups will feature a team from Pot A and a team from Pot B. Also, as stated before, it would feature 2 legs. The first leg will be played at the Pot B team, while the second leg will be played at the Pot A team. Finally, the winner of the 2-legged matchups qualifies for AFCON. The winner is determined by your usual FIFA 2-legged playoff procedures. Your goal aggregates, away goals, penalty kicks if necessary. They will all be features of tie-breaking a 2-legged affair. The Nations League competition format is as follows. For League A, only teams in this league are eligible to become Nations League champions. So teams in League B, League C, and League D are not eligible to become Nations League champions. Only teams in League A can achieve that feat. Secondly, the 4 group winners advance to the Nations League playoffs. They would each host a one-off game in the quarterfinals against one of the second-place teams. Third, the 4 second-place teams also advance to the CAF Nations League playoff. They would each play away in a one-off game in the quarterfinals against one of the first-place teams, one of the League A group winners. The 4 third-place teams do not qualify for the Nations League playoffs, but are not relegated, while the 4 last-place teams do not qualify for the Nations League playoffs and are relegated to League B in the next Nations League competition. For teams in League B, the 4 group winners are promoted to League A in the next Nations League competition, while the 4 last-place finishers are relegated to League C in the next Nations League competition. For teams in League C, the 4 group winners are promoted to League B in the next Nations League competition, while the 4 last-place finishers are relegated to League D in the next Nations League competition. For teams in League D, the first and second place teams are promoted to League C in the next Nations League competition, while the last place teams remain in League D in the next Nations League competition. Essentially, more or less, the Nations League competition format imitates what's seen in Europe's version of this competition, the European Nations League, or the CONCACAF Nations League, though there are some slight differences. The Nations League knockout rounds will feature the following. For its quarterfinals, League A group winners would each host a one-off game against one of the second-place League A teams. Second, brackets are arranged where the highest and lowest FIFA-ranked Group A winners are in the same half of the bracket, while the other 2 Group A winners are in the other half of the bracket. Third, teams from the same group will be placed in opposite halves of the bracket. So if you're in the group with the A winner, for example, you will be in the other half of the bracket. And the only way you would again face this team from your group is in the finals. And last, winners advance to the semifinals. The semifinals would feature 2 matches involving the 4 quarterfinal winners. Both matches would be one-off playoff games. If the matchup involves a group winner and a non-group winner, the group winner hosts the match. If the matchup involves 2 group winners or 2 non-group winners, the team with the higher FIFA ranking hosts the game. And finally, the 2 winners of the semifinals advance to the finals. The finals is a one-off championship match featuring the 2 semifinal winners. If the matchup involves a group winner and a non-group winner, the group winner hosts the game. If the matchup involves 2 group winners or 2 non-group winners, again, the team with the higher FIFA ranking hosts the game, and the winners of this match are crowned Nations League champions. Here is the hypothetical Nations League in play. The teams here and the leagues they're in are based solely on rankings, done, relatively recently at the time of this video. Similar to other Nations Leagues, each team in a group will play each other twice, once home and once away. Here is a hypothetical Nations League knockout round brackets as it would appear based on our previous slide. We would have Algeria traveling to Senegal, Cameroon traveling to Tunisia, Mali visiting Nigeria, and Egypt visiting Morocco. These are 4 pretty impressive, pretty interesting matchups here. The resulting hypothetical AFCON qualifying 2-legged playoff matchups are also pretty interesting, as you can see here on the screen. These matchups are, again, hypothetical, based purely on rankings. Regional allocations for the Olympics qualifying tournaments for the men's and women's. and the U20 and U17 AFCON tournaments, and the U20 and U17 WAFCON tournaments, which is the women's AFCON tournaments, are all as follows. For North Africa, 3 teams. For West Africa, 5 teams. For Central Africa, 2 teams. For East Africa, 1 team. And for Southern Africa, 3 teams. The last 2 spots will be decided via a play-in tournament between the 4th place North African team, the 6th place West African team, the 3rd place Central African team, the 2nd place East African team, and the 4th place Southern African team. For the tournaments mentioned in the previous slide, as stated earlier, the last 2 spots will be decided via a play-in tournament at the location of the AFCON/WAFCON tournament site. Seedings for the play-in teams are based on FIFA rankings. The first round will feature the 4th highest FIFA ranked playing team versus the 5th highest ranked FIFA playing team. The second round will feature the winner of the first round match versus the highest FIFA ranked playing team, while the second highest FIFA ranked playing team would face the 3rd highest ranked FIFA playing team. The 2 second round winners claim the final 2 spots in the tournament. Qualifying for the Women's World Cup is as follows. Alternating WAFCON tournaments would also serve as the World Cup qualifying tournament, much as it does today. So every 4 years, there will be a WAFCON tournament that would also serve as the World Cup qualifying tournament. The tournament features 4 groups of 4 teams. The top 2 finishers of each group advance to the knockout rounds of WAFCON. They also qualify for the World Cup automatically. Finally, the bottom 2 finishers of each group are sent to the losers bracket. They are eliminated from WAFCON, but are still in contention to qualify for the Women's World Cup. For WAFCON itself, the knockout rounds, that is the rounds in the winners brackets, quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals formats remain unchanged. The winner of the finals are crowned WAFCON champions. The losers bracket of this tournament is less straightforward. The loser bracket's quarterfinal would feature 3rd place teams matched up against 4th place teams. The matchups would feature teams from different groups. Teams from the same groups will be placed in opposite halves of the bracket. The 4 quarterfinal winners advance to the loser bracket semifinals. The 4 quarterfinal losers are eliminated from World Cup qualifying contention. So if you lose in the losers bracket quarterfinals, you are eliminated from World Cup qualifying contention. The losers bracket semifinals will have the 2 teams that win it qualify automatically for the World Cup. There will be no loser brackets finals. So if you're in the semifinals and you win your semifinals match on the losers bracket side, you automatically qualify for the World Cup. The 2 teams that lose the semifinals will then have to play each other to grab the interconfederational playoff spot. The winner of this match qualifies for the World Cup interconfederational playoff to grab the African spot. The loser of this match is eliminated from World Cup qualifying. So typically, this is what the format entails. This format may be tweaked in the case that the World Cup host is an African team. By and large, the losers bracket would follow this format. The qualification formats for the men's and women's Olympics, as well as the qualification format for the U20 and U17 men's and women's World Cup, are as follows. For the Olympics qualifying tournament, the 2 U23 AFCON or the WAFCON finalists qualify automatically for the Olympics, and they are joined by the tournament's 3rd place finishers. So only 3 teams would qualify from these tournaments to the Olympics on both the men's side and the women's side. There are no losers brackets at this tournament. For the U20 and U17 qualifying tournaments, The U20, U17 AFCON/WAFCON semifinalists qualify for the U20 or U17 World Cups. The fifth place team, the winners of the U20, U17 AFCON/WAFCON quarterfinals losers bracket, also qualifies for the U20 or U17 World Cup. However, in the scenario that there are only 4 available qualifying spots for the FIFA U20 or U17 World Cup, there would be no quarterfinals losers bracket. Only the tournament semifinalists qualify for the World Cup in that scenario. Benefits of the formats discussed here are as follows. First, we will see increased marquee home and away matchups between top national teams on the continent. Second, we will see fewer qualifying games for major tournaments for national teams over a 4-year cycle. So we will go from basically qualifying for 2 different African Cup of Nations and the World Cup over a 4-year cycle to just qualifying for 1 African Cup of Nations and 1 World Cup. Finally, we will have a more meaningful, higher stakes version of the Nations League. So unlike the versions we see in Europe and CONCACAF, this version of the Nations League will have a lot more riding on its games. All right, that is all that I have for today. Stay tuned for part 3 of the series, which will focus on Asia and Oceania. Until then, enjoy the rest of your day and stay safe out there.